Hello and welcome to our tutorial video. After you have watched this, you should be able to import and prepare 3D models for printing in 3D printer. This video also contains some interactive questions. Please fill them and check your knowledge. One of the most widely spread program for slicing is Ultimaker Cura. You can download it free. It is compatible with many operating systems. After download, install it as usual programs. Next step is to find some 3D models. Let's make it interesting and we don't use our solid edge part. There are numerous sites on internet where you can download 3D models. Like always with free things, please be careful where to download files. One of the best pages for that is called 3D. You have to register via email, but it's safe and so far it don't include annoying commercials. Here are thousands of different files. Some of them are free, some costs little money. Let's use search and find some minion figure. Also we narrow down our search and use only free of charge files. If you make your selection, please think carefully. Don't use figure which is very detailed. Usually cheaper printers don't make them in same quality. Also don't use multicolor models if you have only one printing head and filament. For now, we use this little figure. Click on figure and see what info and pictures are there. Also look what file format this model is. It's recommended to use .stl or .obj formats. Next step, click download and after that file is in your computer. Now it's time to open Cura program. In program, first thing you see is your imaginable 3D printer. When you open Cura for the first time, it will ask your printer type. It's important, because then Cura program can automatically define printing area, width and height. Also it knows how many extruders you have. Now let's import our minion model. As you can see, it's quite big. For educational purposes we want to print it out also. To do it faster, let's make it smaller. Use scale button on the left. We can type measurements or we can edit figure by changing its percentage. You can see figure size also on the bottom left corner. We choose 40%. Another button is for moving part on printing area. You can change figure location when you move X and Y axis. Do not use Z axis, because it will lift model in air. Usually you want your model to be as center as possible. That's because you have to level all 4 base plate corners before printing and in the middle it's most flat. It's important to move things, if you make multiple figures. Then you should also move all figures as center as possible. Let's make an example and add one more minion figure. We scale it down and move to the center. Now we can make minor movements to make printing time as economical as possible. Let's undo and work on with one Stuart. So far we know move and scale buttons. Next is rotate. Rotate button is needed sometimes to change model layout on the table. To make an example, let's select slice button and see what's happening. Now program sliced our figure in 288 layers. These are route for 3D printer nozzle. You can move selector on the right to see exact printing progress. Also you can check some errors and printing logic. Most important is that you don't print in the air. Let's go back and change rotation and slice our model again. Now if we look printing progress we can see two big mistakes. One thing, model is attached to base plate on very little area. It probably come loose and ruin whole printing progress. Second thing, if we look minion hands, they start printing in the middle of there. Printer cannot print something in the air. So final product don't have hands and there will be big mess on the printing table. There is possibility to add some support structures, but let's talk about that later on. Let's change all back as it was. Next button is mirror button. You can change figure layout and make mirror images in 3-axis direction. Last two menu buttons are for advanced settings. You have to use them very rare and you shouldn't change them if you don't know what they are. Next menu is for filament. Usually it's PLA and you should not change it. If you use another type of filament, you can select the right one. Then program automatically select right temperatures and printing speeds. Next menu tree is for printing settings. First option is thickness of printing layer. As you can understand, the smaller thickness equals better quality, equals more printing time. Normal setting is fine or normal. Next option is wall thickness. All structural bodies are somewhat hollow inside. If you want stronger part, make it thicker, but remember it also makes printing time longer. In infill option you can choose infill density. Normally it's 20%. Let's change it to 40% and 10%. See the difference? Default setting for normal printing is 20%. Then comes material, which is already automatically selected, and printing speed. You don't have to change them. Now one important part, support. As you remember earlier, printer cannot print in the air. For this model we can print it as it is and we don't need any support. But when there is something hanging from the model you can add supports. Let's try. You can see that printer is making some extra parts to support some figures. After print you can remove supports mechanically. Overall rule is, that you need supports, when hangout's angle is more than 45 degrees. Below that printer can print layer by layer and there are no worries. In build plate adhesion you can change minion standing area on the printer base plate. This green-blue layer, let it be as default. Dual extrusion option is important when you have two printing heads. You can select different colors or use one as model filament and another as support filament. Now basic settings are ready. As you can see, there aren't many things to change. In these settings printing time is 1 hour and 20 minutes. Also we use 9 grams of filament. You should try to print little things first if you have new printer. Every printer is little bit different and then you can adjust everything as good as possible. Thank you for watching.